Okay. Hi everybody. I'm doing number 38 from this week's homework. Question is, given r equals 5 cosine theta, what is the rectangular equation? So the two equations that we've been using already to get to rectangular form are x equals r cosine theta and x squared plus y squared equals r squared. It looks like we have parts of these two equations in this equation, the given r and the cosine theta. But how do we get it to so that we can do some substitution? So the answer is by multiplying everything in here by r. So that gives us r squared equals 5r cosine theta. And r cosine theta, as we just said, is x. That means r squared equals 5x. And r squared equals x squared plus y squared. So that means that x squared plus y squared equals 5x. And that is the rectangular equation. The question also asks you to graph this. There are two ways that you can do it. Way number one, if you have a calculator and this is on a calculator section, then you can simply rearrange this and set it equal to y. Y equals 5x minus x squared, the square root of all that. And when you graph that in a normal function window, the y equals 1, you'll get something like this. And you'll see that the maximum point here is 5 halves. Right here is going to be 5. This is 0. That means that this is your center right here, and this is your radius. It's really fuzzy. Okay, well, whatever. So it gives, when you graph it, it only gives you a semicircle on the graph on the calculator itself. But when you draw it on your paper, all you have to do is complete the circle like that, and that's how you get your graph. But if you don't have a calculator and you need to figure out the equation manually, then what you need to do is take this equation and rearrange it so it is in the equation form for a circle. So what we need to do is we need to set all this equal to 0. So that's x squared minus 5x plus y squared equals 0. Now, I don't know if you remember from Algebra 2, I think it was, but the equation for a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared, which equals r squared, where r is your radius and hk is your center of your circle, your origin. Now, we don't have that here, but we do have 2/3 of a quadratic equation here, and then this, it's just y squared. That's from right here, k is equal to 0. So we have x squared minus 5x, that's 2/3 of a quadratic equation. The only part that we're missing is the constant part. And the way that we get the constant from this is by completing the square. So, to complete the square, you take the coefficient of x, which is in this case 5, divide it by 2, which would be 5 halves, and square it. And then you add it to your 2/3 of a quadratic equation expression. So 5 divided by 2 is 5 halves, and that squared is 25/4. So we have x squared minus 5x plus 25/4 in parentheses plus y squared equals, now if you add 25/4 to side A, you need to add it to side B as well for equality's sake. And now this is a perfect quadratic equation right here. It is x minus 5 halves squared. There is our x minus h squared. And then we have plus y minus 0 squared, like we said before, equals 25/4. So now we can extrapolate the information we have from this equation and deduce that okay, we can say that 5 halves, 0 is our origin, and our r is the square root of 25/4, or 5 halves. So then all you have to do is graph that. 2.5, 5, 0, and 0, 0 are your endpoints on the x-axis. And then we have 2.5, 2.5, and 2.5, negative 2.5. And then that makes, oopsies, that makes our circle with radius of 5 halves. And that's number 38.